Good morning. Good morning. Can everybody hear me? All right. I'm gonna talk loud because I want to make sure everybody can hear me. You mind if I use this corner here? Okay. All righty. Okay. Okay. All righty. So Pastor Bass asked me to do a bonus session to talk about business. So real quick, show of hands. Oh, go ahead. How many of you all are business owners? Show of hands, show of hands. Raise them high, raise them high, raise them high. Elbows up, all up. I want to see, I want to see. Got a lot of business owners in here, right? Okay. How many of you guys have either went through or going through this particular problem where you see your bank account during the month, money's coming in. You're happy that sales are coming in, and at the end of the month, you barely have $500 in it. You wonder how you're going to pay your bills. Show of hands, show of hands, show of hands, show of hands. If that is you, you want to pay attention to what we got to talk about over the next few minutes. I was that person. I was that person, and I've had several clients that was those people. And I'm gonna kind of go from the beginning to tell you how I got to that point before I tell you what the solution is. So, real quick, if you allow me. So, I started my business in 2011. Originally, I had graduated and I was an engineer, and I had worked for years, and I was frustrated because I didn't feel like that's what God really wanted me to do. I chose that major because of money. You know, a lot of folks typically do it. Say, hey, it pays well, gets me out of Cleveland, because I grew up in Cleveland. It got me out of Cleveland. It paid well, and I said, you know what? I don't have to go back. But along the way, I got stuck in engineering. I'm like, I don't think that this is what God has called me to do. I don't feel like I'm fulfilled. I had made it all the way up to the management chain. I was a plant manager of a company, and I sensed God was calling me to something different. So now I've had a business, and in that business, I discovered that I'm actually really good with financials. So I ended up going back to school, and I became an accountant. Got my master's in accounting. Now, while I was in school, this business was kind of a mistake. I didn't start the business to be a business. I just started it because I had a family of 4. Parker, if you don't mind standing, that's my daughter. Stand. Use your legs. Wave to everybody. Use your hands. And my beautiful wife. Y'all just heard her probably drop some bombs, some gems. So for the last 20 years, I get those every day here. So I am glad that you guys got a chance to experience her in her element. So now, I had a family of 4, and I was like, okay, quitting my full-time job as a plant manager to go and work as an intern in accounting to get experience wasn't it. So I said, you know what, God, I'm going to make a way. So I started this business to just kind of help business owners just with simple things like bookkeeping, tax preparation, stuff like that, just to, kind of, okay, I can get some experience in that way. When I do decide to become a CPA and I'm now going for, corporate promotions, I have some experience that I can compete with. Well, little did I know, I started this business with $300 in a used computer off of eBay. And one of my very first clients was the lady who was actually, she was a daycare owner that took care of my daughter when she was young. This lady had IRS debt like nobody's business, and they was getting ready to try to shut her doors. Now, I don't know if any of you guys ever dealt with tax problems, but her tax problems were basically due to payroll issues, where on Monday, she received all the tuition in, grant program, food program, all this stuff from her people. And then by Friday, she handed it out to the employees for payroll. The IRS was being pushed to the side. She didn't have enough. And it went like that cycle every week. Monday, she was getting paid. Friday, she paying payroll. Money in, money out, in the door, out the door. IRS kept getting pushed to the side. She kept saying, I'll do it later. I'll take care of it later. Take care of it later. Now, if you've ever dealt with the IRS, their cycle normally goes like this. If you're behind one time, they'll send you a nice letter. Hey, you owe, you can pay, here's ways to pay. Call this number, go to this website, so on and so forth, right? Now, this lady was a year behind. And I don't know what happened, but somehow or another, they found out. Now, they pulled up on her. 3 of them. They came with the notepads. And if any of you guys have ever dealt with the IRS, when they pull up on you, they're not trying to do a payment plan. They trying to take something. And in this moment, they decided that they wanted to take her business and take the money that she had in their account. So she's in tears. I'm leaving work, coming to pick up my daughter. She's in tears in her office. And I'm like, hey, what's wrong or whatever. I'm thinking, okay, maybe she's just going through something. She needs some prayer or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, probably need to call my wife for that. I wasn't the person back then that would be the first one to pray for you. I'm like, hey, look, God can bless you. Just have faith and stay with it. He'll pull you through all that type of stuff, right? Church cliches. But she said, no. She said, I actually have a huge issue, and it was due to taxes. She said, these people told me if I don't come up with a plan or a way to pay them by Friday, this is Tuesday, if I don't have a way to come up to pay them by Friday, we are not going to be in business come Monday morning. They came with their notepads. They were taking inventory. They was coming to get their stuff of what they thought was their stuff, right? So I had experience going through this, and I felt like God called me to be in that moment because me and my wife had a previous business when we were in San Antonio. Probably 5 years before that, we owned some restaurants. And I went through the exact same situation where one morning, February the 13th, 2007, I went to bed that night. I had $10,000 in my account. That was the money that I needed to pay my people. I woke up February 14th, 2007, and I had negative $714.26. They pulled the money. I had payroll due that Friday, and I had negative $714.26 that I had to pull from. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I had to get on the phone with these people, and they told me, hey, well, you owe some back sales taxes. And we pulled this money because you ever heard of this word called lien? Levy. Well, they started using those complicated words in my vernacular, and I'm like, okay, that was my first time. Found out that, hey, they don't play, right? I found out that day, basically, right? So fast forward back to this daycare lady. I explained to her my previous situation. Says, look, I know how to get out of it. I know you on the phone with these people, the folks on the radio. You ever heard of them? This is, hey, if you owe taxes, call Optima Tax Relief, and they can do all this stuff, pennies on the dollar, and all this. I said, well, listen, before you pay these people, I said, let me help you. I'm not going to charge you anything. Just let me help you. So she agreed. Now, we went through everything that she had. And I noticed there was a couple of symptoms. But overall, I'm going to tell you what we were able to do first. So I was able to get her debt settled to where she only had to pay $6,000. She ended up owing $60,000. She had $50,000 to the IRS that she owed. She had $10,000 to the state that she owed, all because of payroll. I got her debt settled down to $6,000, and she was able to make payments on that to where she was able to keep her business open. We got it done in a very, very quick time. But the thing that I really want to talk about is the things that I found in her business is what I find in 8 out of every 10 business owners that I run across. Especially if you're doing on $1 million, one of the things she did not have was a way to make money. She was making money, but she wasn't really tracking what was coming in, right? She also didn't have a way to manage money. Let me know if y'all can see, because my head kind of big, and my wife told me that all the time. So So she didn't have a way to manage her money. So we established some systems and some frameworks to get her to manage money. Now, the daycare owner, her goal when she got in business, she said, hey, I got a really good business. I got all these kids coming in. It's a goal for me and my husband to basically say, hey, when we come in, we wanted to make the money. And she wanted to put up like 4 different daycares in the city. One on the west side, one on the north side, one on the south side, one on the east side. She called it the 4 corners. So she wanted to multiply money. Now, she was doing all these things, but what I realized is I told her, I said, listen, you're doing this out of order. You're making money, and then you went and like signed on leases to all these other locations, but you have no way to manage money. So what I want to talk to you guys about is this 3-step thing I call and for my men, this is another triangle we're going to talk about, right? I was talking to them about triangles and frameworks. This is one more triangle that we're going to talk about. This one is what I call the wealth triangle, or better yet, the entrepreneur's journey. So there's 3 phases in it, 3 circles, or 3 corners. First one's make money. Next one is manage. Last one is multiply. So far, show of hands. Are y'all following so far? Can y'all hear me? Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, so repeat after me. Stage 1, make money. Make money. Stage 2, manage money. Manage money. Stage 3, multiply money. Here is the rule with the wealth triangle. Make money and manage money are the frameworks. These are the foundations. The reason why Pastor Bass wants me to talk about this is because the theme of this conference is basically the family, right? Restoring the foundation. Well, this is a legacy. This is what we call the legacy piece, right? A lot of you all are in business. A lot of you all got in business to build legacies for your families. Am I right or am I wrong? We didn't build this business to be broke, did we not? Right, we built this business to make money. So we got to make sure that we do it in order, because everything in Scripture was about order, right? Everything that God did when he created heaven and earth, right? It was an order to it. He did one after the other. Well, it's the same thing, and it's the same thing when you're building your business. But here's where we get it wrong. Most people tend to make money. They immediately skip manage and go right to multiply. Now, show of hands, how many of y'all have multiple businesses? Multiple locations. Show them up. Get the elbows up. All the way up, all the way up, all the way up. I only see 1, 2 people. 3 people. I was one of them. This is where it came in for me. This is where I had to get corrected as well. I had Macreed & Associates, which was an accounting firm. I also built a consulting firm. Then I had a credit repair company. Then I had a company where I was teaching people how to get access to credit, how to get access to loans, and all of this stuff, right? But here's the problem when you build out of order. When you build those types of businesses out of order without making sure that you manage correctly, you're basically multiplying yourself for the same dollar. And at the end of the day, when you multiply yourself because of the same dollar, to make the same dollar, you get tired. You get stressed out. You get burnt out. And at the end of the day, when you take off, guess what happens? Every business that you're running takes off as well. So for instance, I'll give you some examples. If today you cutting grass, tomorrow you cutting hair, Wednesday you doing nails, Thursday you cleaning gutters, Friday you a contractor, Saturday you doing something else, and then Sunday you trying to go to church, guess what happens? A lot of times, especially with my men, we miss church because we want to watch the game and relax. But the order is not there. The order is not there because we out here multiplying ourselves to make $1, but we're not following the order. Make sense? Make sense? So now, let me tell you the rest of the story. So I got our debt settled down from $60,000 down to $6,000. Then I started coaching her on the basis of this, right? So much so that she became, I'm gonna use the word evangelist. She was a daycare owner, and she was on this one street in Houston where, Tosh, you think it was about 5 or 6 daycares on that same street? 5 of them on the same street. In 90 days, I was the accountant for all 5 of them. And when I met them, they all had the same problem. Every last one of them. So I realized then, okay, this is an opportunity. I'm a grad student. I still wasn't even finished with my graduate degree. I realized this is something that most people need to understand. This is something that most people need to learn more about. So I started to put this into a framework. I went to work and I started to study, and that's when I realized there's nobody out there teaching this. Like you have, I'll use this for an example. Dave Ramsey. Show of hands, y'all have ever heard of Dave Ramsey? Right? He talks about money management, but not from a business necessary standpoint. He talks about debt snowball. He talks about, hey, getting out of debt. Debt is dumb. Debt is bad. I disagree with that because debt can be a good thing when it's leveraged, when it's managed. Debt can be a good thing, right? I got some examples. I don't have the time to really talk about it right now, but you can use debt if you have a good management system. If you're making money, if you have this system down, you can use debt to multiply. Matter of fact, I mean, any real estate investor that's successful, you can talk to them and they'll probably go on about it. Probably even more than I can. Now, so that's one part. Now, if you're in business, there's a book called Profit First. How many of y'all have heard of that? Show of hands. Here's the problem with Profit First. What's the first word in that book? What if you ain't profitable? They ain't talking to you. But yet you want to run over and get a loan from the SBA or the neighborhood bank, and you wondering why they won't even give you a conversation. Let me tell you why. Banks don't want to lend to broke people. They want a system. How many of y'all have ever watched Shark Tank? Right. Have you ever noticed that most of the people on Shark Tank, the ones that actually do get the investments, are ones that are able to show that they have a profitable concept, right? I just used this with my man. I said, hey, I got this bottle of water here. If I'm selling it for $1,000 and it only costs me $100 to produce it, that means I have $900 in profit, 90% profit margin, right? That's that management piece. I know my margins. I can go to somebody with $1 million and say, look, I sold 1,000 of these. I want to be able to sell 1,000,000 of these. I need this much in an investment. I'm profiting 90%. I will give you a portion for that investment. How many of y'all would invest in that? Show of hands. Show of hands. Right? I'm seeing hands all across the room. But here's what happens on Shark Tank. Here's what happens on Shark Tank. And this is something that me and my wife talk about all the time. And I tell them, I said, listen, a lot of people come on Shark Tank and they're like, hey, we got this idea. I got this idea. I want to do this. I want to do that. And these are the numbers that we think it will do. And a lot of times they say, hey, I'm out. Because it can't be proven. This triangle can be proven. It can be proven. So much so that my business blew up. I went from $300 in a used eBay computer to making over 7 figures. In addition to that, I have clients who went from 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 in sales to where my biggest client just closed $45 million. They're going to close $45 million this year. They're my minority-owned business in Houston. A plumber. His wife quit a 6-figure job, sitting in my office in tears. Back in 2015, she's like, I think God is telling me to do this. What do you think? I said, I think you should. Y'all got a plan. We just met with them. Me and Natasha both. We had an annual meeting with them. They're closing in on $45 million in sales. They have offers. They have offers in the 8-figure range. Never work again type of money. And I'm telling them, don't sell just yet. Because I want to take them to 100 million. I want them to have the money to where their grandkids and their great-grandkids don't have to work. That is the entrepreneur's journey. That's the entrepreneur's way to build wealth. Right? So now, I had to make a decision. I got all these clients in. We're making all this money. This was in 2015 now. I'm still in my job. I done got my degree. I done got my license. I done got the corporate job that I said I wanted. I'm a Western Region Controller for an oil and gas company in Houston, making probably the most money I ever made on a W-2 before. And a decision came. My boss decided to leave the company and go to another company. And they offered me the job. I would have been a C-level employee. But here's the thing about this. When you become a C-level employee or a C-level director or whatever you want to call it, a manager, you now have to sign what they call a non-compete agreement. If I would have signed that non-compete agreement, that means the end of the journey. I didn't know it was a journey at the time, but you're right. That would have been the end because I could not do anything else in my field because I'm telling them that this is it. Now, I shared a vulnerable moment with the men. I made that same decision about something else this year. I had to tell something else, hey, I'm ending a contract. I'm ending an agreement. Because when you say yes to something, you're giving your all to it. So I had to tell my company no. I stayed in the role I was at, and they put somebody else over me. Immediately, we blew up to the tune of my business was bringing in $300,000-$400,000, which is way more than what I was making as a salary. So I made a decision actually before that, in 2013, I retired my wife. She was in the school system for how long? About 10 years at that time. She was in the school system 10 years. You clapping, but God didn't tell me that at the time. She came to me and said, God told me I need to come home. I was like, did God tell you that? Or the bank account tell you that? Either way, I prayed about it. I said, okay, God, we're going to go on faith, right? We're going to go on faith. So she came home. The business blew up. 2015. I'm in that same boat. Okay, you're at a crossroads. God said it's your decision. You can choose. You can either choose to follow me, or you can go over and say this corporate, keep this corporate money. I chose him, right? I chose him. So the business blew up. We're working, and I made it. Like I said, I made the decision to basically I'm going to teach these people how to have cash flow, how to build a business that pays them on time, on demand, whenever you need, and you don't have to use banks to fund. So part of the management system, and I'm gonna teach y'all this today. Who ready to be taught? Show of hands. There's a 4-step system when it comes to manage money. So a lot of you guys have made money, but you're saying, well, Mac, that's all good. Multiplying money, that's all good. But how do I manage it? I'm gonna teach y'all a 4-step system real quick. Now, the same 4-step system can be found in my book. The book is called Built to Pay You, because you did not work this hard to stay broke. My wife hates that title. But I told her, I said, listen, I wrote this book with you all in mind because I've been there. I've been that person where I'm looking at my yearly reports and I seen that we made $700,000. And I'm like, God, I ain't never made that much money in my life. But then she's calling me and sending me texts and says, babe, are you sure I got the right car? Because the car was declined at the grocery store. I've been there. I know the journey you guys are going through. I have been there. I know what it's like to have 4 and 5 different debit cards or credit cards online because one may decline. Oh, I got to move money over here. Or I got to check my bank account. I'm checking my bank account like 30, 40 times a day because I'm like, okay, I need to make sure this didn't come out, this didn't come out, this didn't come out. I need to move this money over, move this money over. All right, hold on. I'm a little late on this. I've been there. I've played the credit card roulette. I've played the bank account roulette. I've played it. I know what the transfers look like. I know what it's like to have a business and you open it up and you're using your business account as your personal account. You're paying for stuff that's supposed to be personal out of the business, and then you're running in, and all of a sudden you got a tax bill. How did I get this tax bill? Where does this make sense? I've been there. I'm here to tell you, this book can get you out of that. So let's talk about the 4-step method. The 4-step method, I'm going to call it R.O.A.D. Can y'all see this? Okay. Very simple. So if you're in business, you got to have 4 accounts. The first one, we're going to call receive. This is where all your money will come in. Everything comes in. Now, when the money comes in, I want you to do one thing. I want you to wait. Wait a week. And I know it's hard. I know it's tough. I know you got bills to pay. I know that landlord's on you about, I need this tomorrow. I know the IRS sent those letters and they're telling you that you need to have this by this or there's going to be interest. I know it. I've been there. But I'm telling you to wait. Here's why. Most business owners who struggle, they make decisions based on emotions and not strategy. Putting the money here and letting it wait allows you to put together a strategy, right? This is why I want you to wait till the end of the week. So like, let's pick Fridays, for example. Let the money build up all week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then on Friday, we sit down and we want to put together a plan. This is, okay, I made $5,000 this week. What's due? What can I pay? What can I not pay? What do I have personally? What can I save? What can I invest? All decisions have to wait until I receive everything in. So what's the first step? Receive it. And wait. There you go. Receive and wait. We're not making decisions just because they sent the letter, right? There's always going to be bills. There's always going to be bills. But there's only one you, right? And this business is supposed to be built to pay who? There it is. This business is built to pay you. So you have to put you first. Make sense? This isn't about being selfish. This is about stewardship. Make sense? All right. After we receive the money and we've made our plan, the next thing we're going to do, can y'all read that? I'm paying myself. I'm going to pay myself. Now, I'm going to give you guys an exercise and a challenge. I'm going to challenge you to start with at least $250. If you do that every week in a 4-week month, that's $1,000 for that month. If you do it in 5-week months, that's $1,250. Pay yourself. Enjoy that money. Do whatever it is that your heart's desire. Give, pay tithes, whatever. It's your money, right? Now, if you may say, well, Mac, my bills are more than that. Okay, cool. Inside of the book, page 83, it talks about how to come up with that number for yourself, right? I'm just going to say, hey, don't let it be less than $250. You got to hold yourself accountable. That is one of the reasons why that is one of the reasons why God has blessed me to be where I'm at, because my job is to bring more accountability back to the kingdom and more accountability back to small business owners. Because money goes in and goes out, that y'all pay and I'm saying y'all, we pay everybody else first. And then when something's left, we pay ourselves. And when we tend to do it, we tend to just do it through a transfer. There's no accountability, right? So when tax time comes, you're mad at your accountant, you're mad at the tax preparer, and you're switching all these different tax people because you're like, well, the tax person messed myself up. How? You had all year. It's your point. Your fault you waited until October to file them taxes and find out that you made all that money. But again, I'm arrogant. I'm arrogant. I'm the one that's unprofessional. Like, look, you're the problem. So on the pay, right? $250. Now, after you pay yourself, what we're going to do is we're going to transfer more money down to this account called Allocate. Can y'all read this? What does it say? Allocate. Allocate. This is what this means. There are going to be some months where you may, like some of you guys may be in seasonal businesses, right? Like let's say you're in the lawn care industry. Well, nobody needs their grass cut in November, December, January, and February. However, and this comes from the principle of Joseph, when you do make money, we're going to set aside at least 20%. It's going to cover those unplanned expenses. It's going to cover things like taxes. It's going to cover things like My client, I just did a $10,000 job, and they say, hey, we pay on net 60. Anybody knows what net 60 means? Well, for those that don't, what that means is I'm doing a job today, but sometime in January, the check will come. But guess what? Bills don't stop. I need a place to get to be able to draw from. Right now, what you're doing is you're using credit cards. You're going from bank to bank, merchant cash advance, payday loans, all this stuff to cover those unplanned expenses. But how about if we decide to take initiative and we plan for it in advance? The money's there. We don't have to pay 40% interest on $100. Make sense? So what's step 3? Allocate. Savings, taxes, unplanned expenses. We're going to call that, this is our emergency fund, rainy day fund. Every time we get paid, no matter what the balance is, we're putting that 20% away. Make sense? Okay. Last step. After all of this is done in order, the last thing we're going to do is distribute the rest. What are we going to do? Distribute the rest. We're going to distribute the rest. That is where the rest of our bills are paid. This is where payroll will be. This is where, landlord, rent, electricity, utility, cell phone bill, all that stuff, gas, all that stuff down here at the bottom. Make sense? Okay. So, real quick refresher. Did everybody have it down? What's the first step? Receive and wait. Next step. We paying ourselves. Third step. Allocate. How much? 20%. At least 20%. At least 20%. Some of y'all may be millionaires in the room. I don't know. Right? But we want to save that money because we don't need to go to regions. We don't need to go to regions to fund our business. We're not dependent on regions. Right? Our focus is going to be back on God because God has given us a plan now. Regions ain't our master anymore. Make sense? What's the last step? Distribute the rest. Now, does that mean if I want to go on vacation, do I skip this? Exactly. How does the vacation get baked in here? Owner's pay. Owner's pay. We plan for it. As a matter of fact, today's what? November the 22nd? Who has done their 2026 plan? Nobody hands raised. I have. Who's done their 2026 plan? Yes. Who's playing financially for their 2026? Who's playing for the next year? I got one person, 2 people. You gonna plan today? That's it. Make this your plan. Make this your plan. Because a lot of y'all know what you're gonna make next year, or what you want to make next year. Once you put a plan together, it'll tell you the steps that you got to do to get there, right? So now, I'm almost done. There is a phrase, and this actually came to me this morning, so I gotta say it because it's actually important. Have you ever heard the phrase that says, "If you see a penny, pick it up"? Then all your days you'll have what? Okay, so I have now been told that I am no longer from Cleveland, Mississippi. I'm actually from Houston, Texas, right? And in Houston, they say H-Town, not H-Town, right? So H-Town or H-Town, however you want to say it, is known for screwing and chopping. So I'm going to screw and chop that phrase. The phrase I'm going to tell you, and I want y'all to take this away. I want y'all to repeat after me when I say it. If you hear knowledge being dropped, you pick it up. Then the rest of my life will not suck. If you want your financial life to change, Follow the framework. Follow the triangle, which is what's the steps? Make money. Make money first. Manage money next. If you do both of those things right, then and only then can you multiply money. And the way you manage, you start with the road. Now, my book also contains other frameworks and some other steps that goes with this. This is just the beginning. Some of you guys are at a crossroads. Some of you guys may need a little bit of assistance. What I will tell you is make the investment. Once the conference is done, I brought some additional copies with me. What I am doing is I'm offering a one-time discount. Normally the book is $27, but for today, I'm doing it for $20. Okay? How many of y'all feel like this book can help you? Show of hands. Show of hands. This book is a collection of my 15-year journey and stories of how I built this business and how I've built other businesses. All right? That's it. Thank y'all.